Hello guys and welcome to my video. Today I'm going to Northern Michigan, so let's get to the video or else.
We slept in!
Alright guys, so we took off because there was no time to waste there. And it was actually a pretty smooth takeoff, and it was actually quite sunny out because it just sunrised. And eventually we landed in Chicago and then took off from there, which is this video. And we took off and it was actually pretty nice out, and I took a cool time lapse, and then eventually we landed in Traverse City, and we landed there, and it was actually quite nice out. It was a very smooth landing, not a lot of turbulence. I eventually made it to the car rental parking lot, and it was pretty nice. And eventually I saw that huge snowbank, but also I needed to get some snow boots, but unfortunately, they didn't have any, so we immediately had to leave. That were my size because I have big feet. And so I had to leave. And eventually we went to another boot store, but I didn't get any of that footage on camera. But I got some pretty nice boots. They were big winter boots. And we were trying to get to our rental house, which was our friend's house. But he let us stay there for free because he's really nice. And when we stopped at the airport, I got some Nerds gummy clusters, which I had those on the car. And there was lots of snow, which I'm not used to because I am from Texas. So it was quite cold for me, honestly, because it was like in the negative temperatures, which I'm used to, like the 40s in the winter, so it was really cold up there, but I really loved the snow because who can't? So I really liked the snow, but it was very nice up there. I enjoyed it very much, and it was a really nice car ride, and we started to get hungry, so eventually we stopped by a Culver's, and I got a burger with ketchup, mustard, and pickles, and some fries and custard with Oreo crumble on it. And then the next day, we got to the house. And here it is! Yes, here's the house. It is actually pretty nice, so let's go inside. Alright guys, so let's hop in. It's actually pretty nice on the inside. There's a table right there. And then we have a hockey table right here. And here's some goals that I made when I was playing against my sister. And here's a little bar area where you can have a drink, and a Blackstone grill. And then we have a nice leather couch right here where you can watch some TV. And then there's a little table right here. And then if you head over here, there is the bathroom. Yep, the bathroom's in here. Let's turn on the light, and then you can do your business right here, you know what I mean? And then let's head back out here, and then there's some games that you can play right here. And then you're probably like, oh, Chase, what's in this chest? Well, there is some Christmas stuff. Yep. All right, so let's close that and go upstairs. So if we head up here, all the way upstairs, there's a little book area where you can read some books, and food and drink area, and then a dining room, and then a little seat right there, and then some Minecraft on TV, and a couch. And then if we head over here, there's the bathroom, and then you can do your business right there, you know what I mean? But let's head back out, and let's head over here, and then there's two little rooms right here, and there's a closet right there, and my phone in the top right corner, which is really annoying. And then we have another closet here, and if we head on out over here, we have the bedroom. And then let's have it over here, and then there's some snow and big trees out there. And then we have a scene area right there, and a nice scenic area out there. And then if we come over here, we have the bed, and it's actually pretty cozy. So let's head back out here, and there's actually the road that we came in out there, and it's kind of hard to see, but it's out there. And then let's head back downstairs. And I think you probably saw this already, but there's actually some helmets downstairs. And you're probably like, Chase, what is that for? Well, let's head back outside. And if you see something in the distance, there's actually a snowmobile. Yep, a snowmobile. Our friends are actually letting me use it. I've actually never rode a snowmobile, so this is a pretty cool experience. But let's sit on it. Ooh, it's actually pretty cozy. But he said to ride at that trail back there, all the way back there, comes around there, and then all the way back here. So yeah, it's kind of just like a circle, but it's pretty good. And I also got to ride the snowmobile later that day, and I'm in that red suit there. But it was so cold on my face because it was literally in the negatives degrees. But it was so fun to ride it because I've literally never rode a snowmobile before. But also I'm not used to snow because I'm from Texas, but that was really fun to do. I enjoyed it very much. And then the next day we're kind of just running around, meeting family and friends and doing that kind of stuff. Getting our daily meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, all of that. Because we couldn't cook our own meals because we were in that rental house. But then the next day we had to leave, and we got back to the car rental area, and I saw actually some cool boats inside the airport, and there's 2 of them, and that's where you pick up your bags, right there. And then we stopped at a restaurant to get our lunch, and then we saw this little free library and a vending machine, and then we took off from Traverse City. And it was actually a pretty smooth takeoff, and it was actually pretty nice. And then we got actually pretty high, and you can see the lake there. And then we were getting pretty close to landing in Chicago. It was starting to get more cloudy and stuff. And then eventually we got there, and it was snowy there too. But here we landed, and it was a little bit of a bumpy landing, not too bumpy. But then we had to go to the United Terminal, which is through this big tunnel here, which I like the lights above because they feel like futuristic and stuff. And then eventually we had to take off from Chicago, and it was a little bit bumpy because, you know, Chicago's the windy city. But then it was pretty much pitch black outside, and couldn't really see much except the ground and all the lights. And on this flight, I actually watched the Fantastic Four, a little bit of that. And then I built this pretty cool Minecraft house, which I'm actually quite satisfied with. And then eventually we landed in Houston. And it was about like 10 o'clock when we landed, so it was pretty late. And I enjoyed this trip very much, and as you can see, there's a bunch of buses when we were heading out, and it was actually kind of busy at 10 o'clock, and then eventually we head home. And then, guys, when I got back home, I got to see my dog. Oh, but wait, guys, before you leave, make sure to subscribe to my channel. It would do me a huge favor. But here's all of my videos. You can choose any of them to watch, but they are all so good. But thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.